Today we're going to work on our block F1, which is in the upper right hand corner of your Goose Tracks quilt. For block F1, our fabrics that we will be needing will be our background fabric and our stash fabric 2. Our stash fabric 2 needs a matching thread but darker shade and a bobbin. It also needs a contrasting thread, and I've chosen the yellow. And then our stash fabric 3 will need a contrasting thread, and I've chosen the light lilac, and we'll also need a bobbin. Step number 1 for block F1 is to put a neutral color thread in your needle and go ahead and stitch out your block outline. Step 2 for block F1, we now need to change to wash away thread in our needle only, and we're going to take our background fabric 1 and fold it into a quarter fold, and in the center where the fold comes together we're going to clip a small hole, and then we'll take our background fabric 1 and place it right side up over our battleizer. And again, with our wash away thread in the needle only, we will go ahead and stitch our tack down stitch. Finishing up with step 2 of block F1, we now need to trim the inside of our block. So the small hole we cut is going to be very helpful because we can just stick our hoop scissors in there and trim a scant 1/4 inch all the way around the entire area. So here I am about to finish up trimming of our step 2, and now we're going to take this over to the quilt and show you where this will go, because we're going to save the scrap for a different block. This is the scrap we've saved from our block F1 after we cut out second step, and it is actually going to go in here later on, so save this scrap for later. This will be step 3 of block F1. We're going to take fabric 2 and we're going to fold it into quarters and clip another hole in the center. Open it up, we'll place it over our battleizer, right side up, and we still have our water soluble thread in the needle, and we're going to stitch our tack down stitch. We just finished stitching step 3, and it did a tack down stitch of our fabric 2, so now what we need to do is trim fabric 2 on the outside edge here where fabric meets fabric, very close as if for applique. Finishing up with step 3 of block F1, we've trimmed all of our outside corners really close as if for applique, and now we're going to go to the middle and we're going to cut it, and we're going to trim out the fabric in the center about a 1/4 inch away. For step 4 for block F1, we're going to place our thread 2 match dark in the needle only, and we're going to stitch a stem stitch on all 4 corners. Step 5 for block F1, we're going to change to our wash away thread in the needle only, and we're going to place our fabric 3 centered over where we cut out the other fabric. So you'll place it right over the middle and it'll stitch a tack down. So we're going to finish up step 5 for block F1. We're going to trim very close as if for applique around all this little flower that we just stitched in the middle. Now we're to step 6 of block F1, and we're going to place our thread 2 match dark in the needle only, and it's going to stitch a stem stitch over the raw edge. Step 7 of block F1, it's time to put our thread 2 contrast in the needle only, and we're going to stitch a decorative stitch over the purple fabric. Step 8 for block F1, we're going to place thread 3C in the needle only and stitch some more decorative stitches. Step 9 of block F1, it's time to put the back on the back of the block. So we're going to take a little temporary spray adhesive, spray it on the back of your block fabric, stick it to the back of your hoop, and we're going to put some wash away thread in the needle only, and we're going to base paste our block back on. Step 10 of block F1, we're going to place our thread 2 match dark in the needle and the bobbin, and it's going to stitch our quilting stitches. We have our hoop on the machine for step 10 on block F1, and we're going to turn off our thread cutter if you have that feature on your machine. And we're also going to draw the bobbin thread up to the top so that you don't end up with a wad of thread underneath, and we're going to go ahead and stitch up our quilting stitches. We have our completed block F1. This would be the front, and this is the back with the quilting all finished. And now it's time to trim it. And since F1 is in the lower right hand corner of our Goose Tracks quilt, it's going to have 2 outside edges. Our outside edges will be trimmed with a regular quilting ruler, 1/4 inch away from the stitching line. So I will do that first through all layers of top fabric, the battleizer, and the back fabric. So this would be your outside corner where your binding gets attached. And the other 2 layers get trimmed using our trimmer by George. And the trimmer by George will protect the front from being accidentally trimmed because we have to fold back the front, snug up the trimmer, give it a little bit of a tug, and trim off your battleizer and your backing on the other 2 corners. So that's what it looks like on the front, and on the back we have our backing and our battleizer trimmed really, really close. And then we'll take our quilter's ruler again and we'll place it 1/4 inch away from the outside stitching line and trim off the front layer. And these two edges will be where the blocks are joined together. So the front will look like that, and the back will have 2 trimmed with the trimmer by George and 2 trimmed through all the layers for our binding.